yeah, I'm really looking forward to jumping into this, because a lot of people in the West and in the Western ufology just don't know about the Association Ecology of the Unknown. So I think this is going to be a really interesting talk. I'm very excited.
I'm excited too.
In the Western world, the mainstream UFO narrative is primarily coming from the United States, and so we don't hear much about what is going on in Russian culture, politics, or science when it comes to the UFO phenomenon. And so we definitely have a lot of different topics to discuss during this. And yeah, so once again, thank you for taking this time to sit down and talk to me about this extremely important issue.
Okay, so maybe you want to hear some introduction.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to start this by getting some background on you. So, because you're currently a trainer of Russian cosmonauts at the Yuri Gagarin Cosmonaut Training Center, which is in Star City, Moscow, and you're a specialist, I believe, in life support systems. So, can you tell us about this career choice, and how did you become a trainer of Russian cosmonauts, and what exactly do you do?
Okay, that's correct. So I have graduated Moscow Aviation Institute, and as a specialist in life support systems of flying vehicles, of airborne vehicles. So that's why I'm working at Gagarin Cosmonauts Training Center at Star City, Russia. And actually, I train cosmonauts on life support systems of a Russian spaceship, Soyuz MS. And I train as Russian cosmonauts as well as astronauts, American astronauts and European astronauts. So that's why I have to have my English at certain level so I can talk to them and train them. So that's my background. That's what I do. And you want to know more, or what is it?
Well, how long have you been doing that exactly?
I've been doing it from since 2014.
From 2014. And did you have any kind of previous background in military or intelligence, or how exactly did you end up becoming a trainer?
Yes, I've been in the military. But now Gagarin Cosmonaut Center is a civil organization. It's not military. It used to be military. Now it's civil.
Right.
But as you know, going to space always involves military. But our position is that the military shall be involved only in peaceful way. I heard there were talks about putting weapons in space. That's not this definitely not that Russia is going to do. Never. We always stood for and will be standing for exclusively peaceful exploration of outer space, and that's why Russia proposes the treaty on the prevention of the placement of weapons in outer space, and not only because we want to have peaceful space and peaceful life on Earth, but also because we have some knowledge obtained throughout 40 plus years of study of the anomalous phenomena. And that relates to my position as the general director of the Association Ecology of the Unknown. I am representing it today as well. And I'm speaking on behalf of this association, which involves many military men, scientists, PhDs, researchers of the UFOs and other different kinds of anomalous phenomena. And we have a lot of experience and knowledge in this field. And the full name of our organization is the Association of Researchers of the Unknown Phenomena of Cosmos, of Nature, Cosmos, and Human Abilities, the Ecology of the Unknown. So there are people from different fields of human knowledge, psychologists, and well, many people. I have a list here. That's just it's in Russian. Maybe it won't tell you nothing. But these are the names that of ufologists and scientists and military men, generals, cosmonauts that we have been working with throughout these years, who contributed to the knowledge that we have. And again, that is the one more reason why we know for sure that there can be only peace in space. There can be no weapons. Otherwise, we can extinct the human race because of our mindset of going to war, of rivalry, of divide and conquer. Because of that, that's a very dangerous situation if someone ever puts weapons in space.
Well, this is this is something I want to get into with you. Obviously, the membership of the AEU, which is very impressive, because I was looking at some of the members on your website, and I've got some of them written down here, so I can read some out for people. But the prevention of space-based weaponry as well is a very interesting thing, and for someone who's in the West, yeah, obviously, I'm sure you understand. We get a lot of different types of news about Russia, about China, and a lot of it is about potential conflict and threats and counterintelligence. So, is it just your group, the AEU, that is looking to prevent space-based weaponry, or is this something that is very much a part of the Russian Federation's idea for space?
Of course, it's the part of Russian strategy, and since Andropov's time, it's 1980s. Andropov called for the peaceful space, and President Putin in 2020 at the UN Assembly, he spoke about that. It's throughout Russian political history.
Yeah.
And of course, that comes from the president of the Russian Federation. And if you doubt, I can send you some links of speeches of people who are in position of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation, of President Putin. So, and of course, we, the Association Ecology of the Unknown, also call for this. But we have some more to add to this call. And this is the extraterrestrial issue, not only geopolitical, not only political, or something that comes from common sense, because we want to have peace. Who wants to have war? Who wants to be killed in war? Who wants to be? Who wants his children to be killed there? Nobody. Well, who wages wars? Extraterrestrials? No, it's we humans. So let's stop it. Just wake up and stop. And we add to this this extra knowledge about the extraterrestrials, and we can get into this soon.
So yes, I've got a few questions about the ethics of the cosmos a little further down in my questions, because I think that this very interesting, your approach and some of the claims. I'd like to ask, just to kind of kick it off with the UFO subject. When did you personally become interested in the UFO phenomenon? Was it when you joined the AEU, or did you have a previous interest in this subject before that?
Personally, me, I was involved about 3 years ago, and I have some experience of my own of having contact with extraterrestrials. But back in the day, I didn't feel that that was something real happening to me, because I lived just an ordinary life. So just like all people, I never thought of extraterrestrials. I didn't think that whether they are there or there are no extraterrestrials. I just didn't had this in my perception, this knowledge, this field. And when I became when I started working in the GCTC, of course, we were talking with our colleagues and cosmonauts on these topics, and I became interested, and I became to look into it. And then I got acquainted with the president of the Association Ecology of the Unknown, Professor Alexander Simonov, who is, let's say, the father of Russian and Soviet ufology. He knows personally all the scientists and all the people that in these lists, so, and many others, and he is in this topic for so many years that it's more than my age. So and we got to know each other, and then I found that it is my mission, and we became to work together, and we actually registered this organization officially. So there are certain bureaucracy steps in Russia to establish an organization officially. So we took these steps, and since 2019, it's an official organization with the name that I have already told you, dealing with all of the anomalous phenomena. And not only this, I will just read the goal of the organization, and that will be the answer.
Okay.
So the Association Ecology of the Unknown, that's written in our charter, is established to unite efforts and coordinate actions of individuals and legal entities that conduct scientific research contributing to the evolution of mankind in the field of studying of the unknown phenomena of nature, cosmos, and human abilities, in order to further take them into account and deploy them in practical work, including in preparation to the adoption of important state and international decisions. So that's how we relate to geopolitics, to the situation around the world. That's our mission.
Well, this is interesting because since 2017, within the mainstream arena of politics and media in the United States, the UFO issue has become a frequently debated topic, and there has been a series of announcements from the United States government through the Pentagon, through the Department of Defense, and the Office of Naval Intelligence. So you've had things over the years like guidelines and reporting mechanisms for active duty pilots and military personnel who witness UFOs has been improved. You have an unidentified aerial phenomenon task force, which has been established. And the most recent shift in the conversation is coming from a pending report that is due to arrive this month, which is a multi-agency, all sources report that has gone through various channels, departments, and agencies within the US government and the intelligence and defense infrastructure. And this report on UFOs is set to be released sometime this month. And all of these changes have shifted the way in which this subject is discussed, and the severity of that discussion. With literally within the space of 4 years, the UFO subject has suddenly become a mainstream conversation. And aside from your work in the AEU, has this recent shift in the discussion over in America had any effect on the discussions in Russia? What is the modern Russian response to the issue of UFOs? Is there stuff happening in the mainstream?
Yes, of course we know that American intelligence agencies and the military have to report to the Congress all that they know about the UFOs, the UAPs, with the goal to evaluate if UFOs can be some threat to national security, or maybe this can be something made by Russians or Chinese. So that's their goal. And in our from our point of view, this is intentionally made to portray Russians as someone, or as someone who is going to be ahead of them, and because of that, we have to go ahead of them, and to prepare for war, to prepare for an arms race in space, of course. In this report, I assume that they will agree on the thing that these UFOs are a threat, and probably this is maybe Russian technology or Chinese technology, or maybe extraterrestrials, but it can be this or that, and all this will lead them to a conclusion that they have to prepare for war to compensate for this possible threat. And of course, they will receive orders to make weapons. They will invest big money in the military industrial complex. And some people will have great benefits from this. And they will be good guys, because the bad guys are the Russians or extraterrestrials or Chinese, you name it. And in the USA, they have a doctrine to dominate space. And in the open part of this doctrine, it's written that the US have to dominate space and control it. So that's what they do. They're just following their doctrine. And besides that, they want to spin, they want to twist that our call for peaceful exploration of outer space as something that like we're cheating on the whole world, like we want them to sign this treaty on the prevention of the placement of weapons in outer space. So they will have to stop preparing for war, and we will be the first. That's a twist.
Well,
that's exactly the opposite.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, because obviously it's very difficult to find clear information between the West and the East, and it's extremely difficult because obviously there is a lot of false media reporting from both sides, and it's difficult because I like and I agree with exactly what you're saying about the prevention of space-based weaponry. And I've spoken to people about this, and I've said that the AEU and other groups seem to be very much wanting to prevent this type of thing. And a lot of people will respond by saying, oh, well, that's just disinformation. The Russians, of course, they want to put weapons in space. They're just trying to get everyone else to not do it. And so, what's your response to this very, very ingrained idea within the West that it's always disinformation when it comes from Russia or China?
What is our response?
Yeah, what's your response to that? Because that is very much the idea that comes out through the news. Oh, you can't trust Russia, you can't trust China, and like I said, I personally very much agree with what you're saying. So what would be your response to that?
Okay, I understand. Our response is as follows. We have a different point of view, and we look at all this situation from a historical evolutionary point of view. We are for the higher good, for the highest good. We are not Russians, they are Americans. We are the globe. We are humanity. Humanity is a living organism. It's one single organism. And we are the part of it. Okay, and Americans are the part, and Chinese are the part. Like organs in our body, there's heart, there's a brain, there's kidneys, there's you name it. And imagine if heart starts to fight with the brain, or your lungs start to fight with the, I don't know, your nervous system. there will be a disbalance, and the whole body will die. That's what exactly is happening right now in the world with humanity, because humanity at the current moment has a very low level of consciousness, have a very low level of ethics, of morality. It's divide and conquer.
Yeah.
It's rivalry. It's constant struggle. In the family, husband struggles with wife. Parents struggle with children. Russians struggle with Americans. Businessmen struggle with the poor. Rich struggle with each other, who will be the higher, who will take the higher position. So it's always the struggle. Look at the history of humanity. How many wars were there? It's 95% of the time. And that's what's happening. And that is going to be put into space. This is our planet. We live here. And by the way, if you didn't know or nobody told you, humanity is not alone in the universe. I am telling you for a fact, 100%, the whole universe is alive, and there are many, many people out there, not just bacteria or microbes, humanoid races at different stages of evolutionary development. And they can travel through the universe as long as they have certain level of ethics. That's just fundamental laws of the universe. We can get into that later if you want.
Yeah.
Just fundamental laws. You cannot have a technology that will allow you to go through these enormous distances between star systems, because you cannot think of this if you don't have a certain level of ethics. There's just knowledge that comes to you from your consciousness. How do we invent things? It comes from somewhere, okay, right? That's just how it happens. And you cannot have this knowledge if you don't have a certain level of ethics. And humanity is now at very low level. We will not reach stars, never, if we don't change. And other races that care of us, that are here, maybe their drones are here, they're observing, they will not, for ethical reasons, they will not interfere directly. They will not take your hand, don't push this button. No, they can only give you hints. They can give you hints and warnings. But we, as the main force in this planet, in this solar system, we decide what path are we going to take. Or we going to wage wars forever. Then we just extinct and die and we kill each other. That's no problem. But hold on. We can take a different path of evolutionary development. So that's my answer. How we relate to this, how we view at this situation. We are not dividing. These are Russians, these are Americans. They are trying to cheat. No, we are good guys. We're trying to share our knowledge, share this knowledge, because we have 40 plus years, as I have already told you, of research in this field, of many people involved, many cases studied. So I just cannot tell you in a few minutes about all this. I just can tell you what I'm telling. So this is what we share, and we're trying to make other people see it. So that's
well, this is the way that you're describing it, the way you're talking about the conscious universe and the evolution of humanity. These are things that I very much agree with, and this is all a part of my own belief as well. So it's encouraging to hear this type of discussion is coming out of Russia, and like as you said, the American narrative is one of a potential national security threat. So is it fair to say that the Russian Federation does not consider UFOs as a potential national security threat?
Well, as I have already told you, there are different people in different countries. Of course, maybe there can be found some people in the Russian Federation who would think that no, let's tell that this craft is their technology. We have to beat this card with something. And there can be found people in China, in everywhere. But that's not the case. We cannot divide from now, from this situation, current situation ongoing. We have to forget this divide and conquer. It doesn't work any longer. If we go on this path, it will be a mess. It will be constant fighting, cheating, and trying to get ahead of someone. And where do we go from there? Now we have to stop this. Of course, we can find some people and say, I told you, they also think so. Here's this man, and show somebody, and he will tell this, of course. But why would you do this? For your benefit? To cheat? Yeah. Of course, it's the struggle. It's the cheating and the waging wars and getting money from this. Because wars and drugs and selling weapons is the most beneficial things right now. But that's wrong, of course. And that's what we're trying to show people, because when does it end? If you continue to think so, you personally, that's the foundation for all these talks, for all this ping pong, because you believe, okay, that's a good evidence. Okay, let's listen to them. That's a counter evidence. What is right? I should decide. No, forget it. Well, you may not forget it. Just remember it, but take a step higher, and you will see more. If you're sitting inside your room, there are 4 walls. You can look to the left, you see this wall. You look to the right, you see that wall, and there's a ceiling. Get out of this building, maybe, and you will have a bigger perspective. That's what we're trying to say.
Right.
And that's the way out. So maybe, will you be satisfied with this kind of answer? I don't know.
Oh, that's a great answer. Thank you. I'd like to ask you, just on a personal level, do you personally believe that any of the world's superpowers, Russia, China, America, any of them have actually had any success in creating these types of vehicles that are similar to UFOs, reverse engineering or anything like that? Do you think that there is something like that being hidden away from us, a technology?
I think yes. I think there are man-made vehicles of maybe reverse engineered. But again, as you may find in the internet, there are stories of encountering of extraterrestrials, and once there was a story, I don't remember where, an extraterrestrial told that you are not able to use something that does not belong to you. And they, of course, they tried to use reverse engineer the engine of an ET craft, and it just blew up. And because you cannot use something that does not belong to you. In this field, we have to have a different mindset. We are used to some ordinary things, like to some. So this is a cup. So I'm drinking from it. This is a vehicle. This is a flying saucer. It's just maybe a piece of metal or something. We have to study and reverse engineer it. But this is something more than just a piece of metal. These flying saucers, more often, these are living things also. And it's just like in the movie Avatar. You connect your consciousness to this vehicle and also living thing. And when it crashed, and when it crashes, it dies. And you cannot reverse engineer it because it already died. And There were cases, of course, in Russia of UFO crashes and retrieved objects, and they present a lot of mystery, because how that was made, what was it before it crashed? Because after it crashed, it changes. We have to transcend our paradigm, because our paradigm is believe what the scientists will tell you, and they can explain everything. And of course, they will explain it in a way that somebody who has power told them to, because maybe they were paid, or maybe they just didn't know. Maybe their intentions were good, but they just in this paradigm. We have to have a different paradigm. And this paradigm is that the whole universe is a living. It's just like an organism, like your body. It's different. So of course they're man-made craft, but they are just piece of metal, you know, just like our cars, like our trains, because we have a certain level of morality.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's not bad level. Just it allows us to make things like this, like cell phones, like some things that we have a knowledge of, electromagnetic fields, of anything, you name it. And we can employ this and do things and make something and make weapons and make good things. But when there is no, like people think, I have done so many harm, I have done so many bad things. If there was God, I have been long punished. I'm not. That means that I can get away with this, but they're wrong, because they just don't know that they are being erased. Their future is being erased. And when this wave comes to this moment, they may die, or their children may die, or you know, this is called karma, or the law of retribution, the law of justice. So it works always. It doesn't it doesn't matter if you know it or not. And we have the current moment of being have to transcend to this level, to get to know these laws and to change. You know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely.
Can you feel me?
Yeah, I feel you, Timofey. Absolutely. And I'm wondering if you know, do you think that perhaps all of the conflict and the kind of degrading of morals and all of the issues that we're seeing in the world, are they perhaps maybe necessary, like growing points, almost like, you know, like a child going through puberty and growing up, and you make mistakes and you do silly things and you know, throw stones at children on the schoolyard, and perhaps as a planetary species, we are like a child growing up and we're having to go through these stages of development. So is there any possibility that even though these events and these conflicts are awful and they're terrible things, that perhaps it's kind of a necessary evolutionary step up towards something else?
Absolutely. You're absolutely correct. And to say more, of course, these are some necessary steps. But, you know, when your child wants to, for example, to jump off of something, and you're seeing that this is just a chair, and you want to warn him or her, just be cautious, don't hurt
Yeah.
yourself. And he jumps and he learns. Yes, that's okay. But someday you see your child wants to jump at the railroad and there's a train going. There will be not enough to say to him, oh, don't jump there, you may be hurt. You'll grab him by the hand and you'll stop him, because otherwise he will die. And that's no learning. That's an edge. And you have to put this road for your children. You have to teach them. So there's a maybe a verge or an edge, that a line that we shall never cross.
Right.
Otherwise, it will be too late. It's too far. And yes, and now we're learning, but we have to get aware. We have to realize that this is not just learning, and of course we all become stronger if we don't die.
Do you think that the train on the tracks coming towards the child for humanity is nuclear weapons?
No.
No,
Who makes nuclear weapons? Tell me.
humans.
Yes.
No, but
Why?
I mean that in terms of the risk of something coming towards us and perhaps our elders grabbing us and pulling us away from it, do you think that that might be our dangerous obsession with nuclear weaponry?
Oh yes, sure. That's of course, that will maybe this will be a laser or a beam or a bomb, something that explodes and kills. But who made this bomb? Who threw it?
Mm.
Who made you do so? It was you. You pushed the button. And don't blame it on some of your inner demons or something.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
did it. And you have to realize what you're doing and the consequences of this. Yes, I'm selling weapons and I have a lot of money coming to me, and that's okay. In 10 or 15 years, I'm going to die and forget this world. But the world keeps going on. There, you have children, you have grandchildren, and they are going to live in this world. And this is the point where you have to think of the others. Uh, it's so understandable. It's common sense. And we just have to become sane again, not
Yeah.
insane. We have just become sane again. We have to think twice and just care about each other. And if you see someone doing wrong, maybe there's just some little program working inside of him that makes them do so. And there are some programs I can tell you later, maybe if you want. And if you have a conversation with him or her, he may change because he sees good in you. He sees some different, some maybe you call it light, some divine essence, or
Yeah.
maybe your good intentions, and this different energy of a higher frequency that you broadcasting, and this thing changes everything. And there may be people who want to make you afraid, to fear something. And if you follow this fear, then you are controlled. And if you're not, if you know what's happening right now to you, you can just transform the situation. And that's what the humanity right now is better to do: transform this whole situation and learn from it, and get to the next level of consciousness. We have to become one, you know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, this is very much how I feel as well about this conversation. You said near the beginning of our discussion that you've had experiences yourself with something. Now, I have also had some experiences, and this was actually brought on by using consciousness, asking for things to arrive. And I was eventually successful, which is actually the reason why I created this platform doing interviews, is because I had contact and I had to try and talk to people about it, you know? And I'm just wondering what happened to you. Can you talk about any of your personal experiences?
Yes. If you don't mind, I can read a little piece that I wrote
Yeah.
recently. of my when I was recalling an episode from my life,
Yeah.
and now I understand what that was, and you will understand too. And after that, I've had more things going on. And when I shared this episode with different people from this community, they could relate to that. So they told I had similar things too.
Right.
So shall I read?
Absolutely. Please.
5
Yeah.
minutes.
No problem.
It's called The Initial Meeting. In 2004-2005, I worked as an interpreter for a trading company. My colleague Sergey and I often went on business trips. We showed our foreign partners the equipment that they were going to buy in Russia through our company. Usually, one business trip took several days, so we had to stay in hotels. On one of these trips, Sergey and I, as usual, took 2 double rooms, one for ourselves, the other for our foreign partners. There were 2 of them as well. Our room was on the 2nd floor of the hotel building. It was the attic floor. My bed was against the wall, opposite the window, and Sergey's was in the middle of the room, halfway between my bed and the window. The window was the only one, but it took up almost the entire wall. I woke in the night to find the whole room flooded with a very bright bluish-white light. The light was very bright, but not blinding. It filled the entire space of the room like water. It seemed that no more light would fit into this room. The black silhouette of Sergey's bed and himself sleeping on it stood out clearly against the solid shroud of light that the wall and window had become. I found myself paralyzed and absolutely unable to move. It was with great difficulty that I managed to open my eyelids, which closed again, as if my body was not listening to me. The first thought that flashed through my mind, I was not supposed to have woken up. 3 creatures appeared in front of me. They floated forward from the wall of light. I could only see their dark outlines. I couldn't see their faces, and I couldn't tell if they were wearing clothes. They were not tall, about 3 or 4 feet high. They had large heads, skinny bodies, and long, thin arms. Despite the disappropriate proportions of their bodies from the standpoint of the human body, their appearance was harmonious, did not cause disgust. One of the creatures was slightly closer to me, and the other 2 were standing behind the first one on either side of it. I was terrified and shocked at the same time. I wanted to scream, to jump out of bed, back up, run, but all I could do was open my mouth a little. Somehow I knew that it was the bright light that paralyzed me. The one in front slowly and smoothly raised his right hand and reached for me. I made a mental note. What long arms he has. My perception split. I felt myself, my body, and at the same time, I watched everything from a side. It was like in a dream, but it wasn't a dream. The creature leaned lower and lower, and I saw the edges of my body become transparent. His hand passed freely through my body as if my body was a hologram. It was terrifying at that moment. But there was nothing I could do but watch. He reached to the center of my chest and wrapped his hand around my heart. I saw my heart pumping, and I thought, all he has to do now is clench his hand hard enough to kill me. But he didn't do it. After holding my heart in his hand for a while, he smoothly released his fingers and just as smoothly moved his hand back out of my body. I saw all 3 creatures float back, closed my eyes, and passed out. I woke up in the next morning as if nothing had happened. Half throwing off the blanket, I sat up and watched sleepily as Sergei made his bed. And then, as if I had been doused with a bucket of icy water, came the memory of what happened that night. I stood motionless, my eyes bulging. Sergei didn't pay any attention to me. I asked, Sergei, did you hear anything last night? Did you see anything? No, what is it? Well, maybe there's a bright light or some sounds. No, I didn't hear or see anything. Why should I have? Just asking. Don't bother. When I realized that Sergei had not seen or heard anything, I decided not to tell him what had happened. And after about an hour, I stopped thinking about it myself and went into an everyday mode. At that time, I knew nothing about extraterrestrials and did not even think about the possibility of their existence. So the case described above was later considered by me as one of my dreams, but very lucid. When the situation has passed, everything becomes so far away. And you think, did this really happen to me?
Wow, that is an amazing experience that you had. And at this point in your life, are you quite convinced that that was not a dream and that that did happen?
Oh, absolutely. Can you tell right now, are you sleeping or not?
Yes,
You're not sleeping,
I'm not
right?
sleeping.
And that's the feeling I had when I woke up at night. I knew I was not sleeping, but
Wow.
I started seeing all this and I just couldn't explain it. And that's why I was terrified. I could not move. I didn't know what was happening. Maybe it's a nightmare, but it's too real. And then
Well,
as if when my perception split, so you heard everything.
yeah, that was incredible. And like you said, when you've told this story, a lot of people have said I've had similar things, and that's true. A lot of people in the UFO community who have experienced things have had similar events. Although I've never heard of beings reaching into someone's body, as you passing through their body in the way that that did, and that's a very interesting thing to hear. And I can't imagine what that must have been like to experience, having something literally put its hand into your body and put its hand around your heart. I mean, that's incredible.
And that was not painful at all.
No.
I just as I told you, I watched from a side and I was feeling myself at the same time. That feels so natural when you experience it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I saw my body became transparent, like a hologram, really. And I saw my organs and I saw my heart pumping and I saw his hand. I seeing it right now as he took my
That's
heart. Maybe he
amazing.
healed me. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. I mean, it's kind of to me, it's the idea that we as humans, we're on a certain kind of density. There's a physicality to us. It's very real, but that's not the ultimate truth. And we're actually, we're just energy. We're just energy showing itself in a human form. And so, whatever these things are, they're able to bypass the material, the matter, and just go straight through. And do you think, because you said that you couldn't really see them very well, but did you get any idea of, like, you said long arms, were they grays, were they what we would call alien grays?
Maybe, but
Yeah.
uh, as I said, they were not fearful. Were
No.
their silhouettes were harmonious. I could feel not only seeing them, but I could feel uh, their essence. I don't know how to say. When you see a person entering a room, you
Yeah.
can look at him and you can tell if he in what mood he is,
You're right.
maybe
Right.
what he thinks approximately. And when I saw the silhouettes, I could feel I don't know, it's uh, as if they were trying to not to bother me.
Right.
because
Yeah.
as I concluded, I was not supposed to have woken up. But
Well, what do you think that they were doing then? If you were not supposed to have woken up, have you given that any thought? What they might have been trying to do with you?
and maybe they healed me. I don't know. Maybe they
Maybe.
marked me
Yeah.
somehow. You know, we know so little about ourselves and how the world works and how the universe works. And I said in the beginning of our conversation that we have this 40 plus years of the study from different angles. And we have put together the conception of the living universe. It's on our website in a very short form, 8 pages,
Yeah.
just the essence. And I don't know for what reason. You know, there are people, different races, who are in charge not of only their star system but of the entire galaxy. Maybe they have their duties. Maybe they're guardians, you know, guardians of the galaxy or something like this, because there are so many galaxies
Yeah.
in the universe on a little piece of a sky of this big. When you look at the sky, actually that's what Hubble telescope sees.
Right.
There are 265,000 galaxies, and imagine throughout the whole sky, if you look just there,
Yeah.
maybe there
Too
are
many,
more
too many to
galaxies.
count. Too many to
And
count.
how can one think that you're
Yeah.
alone? That's just a paradigm, a convenient paradigm that's that we are being exposed to, that's imposed on us by someone who knows more, to have maybe to have to have this just a little world of buying and selling and living ordinary life. And but you know, there are so many cases of some anomalous phenomena. It's not anomalous, it's just something we don't know. And by
Yeah.
the way, our eye, when we see something, it's just a small segment of the whole spectrum of
Absolutely.
electromagnetic frequencies. And besides that, you know, as you told, there's this is physical world. This is physical world. And there are many dimensions. So it's more than words can say.
Yeah.
We just have to break this shell like a chicken, right, and go into the world and explore it, but peacefully, because you cannot go there if you're hostile. And what we humans do in these reports and this studying of UFOs phenomena, we want to see an enemy with whom we then would fight, struggle, and have rivalry. And of course, we try to project this mindset into the universe, into the cosmos. And because of this, we would think that extraterrestrials may be hostile, as we are to each other. This is just our mindset.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is inside our brains. And from there, they view it differently. They just view that this race is just at this stage of development. And we have to care and warn them and help them evolve. But if they someday would want to go into space and conquer someone, that's not allowed.
Yeah.
Because I think this is so. This comes from common sense, because you have to contribute to the evolution. You cannot stop it. You cannot destroy it. It's so much bigger than you. Your heart contributes to your life. It's pumping blood. It cannot just at will stop. I'm tired. No, you cannot do, because you have a mission. and you know you have a mission, and heart knows its mission. It's the engine that drives it. And just like this, the humanity has its mission. We just have to realize this divine mission, divine purpose. Call it how you want it. We cannot think in a manner that, okay, if we destroy our planet, that's the problem. Nobody cares. One more race plus minus. No, the universe needs us. We cannot die. We are in charge of this planet. We are in charge of the solar system. And nobody will do this work for you. Nobody will clear the ocean, purify the oceans. Nobody will clear the garbage. Nobody will put away the debris in the outer space. There's so much trash out there flying around the planet.
Yeah.
The poisoned oceans, the poisoned rivers. Who would do this for you? Nobody. We have to stop this game, war game. We have to put in order ourselves, put this planet in order, and then we can join again, and you join our galactic family. And they are very friendly. They're waiting for us to wake up. So that's our message to the world, and that's what we're trying to share. And we have this conception, and we have many things more, and you can get it absolutely free, of course. And let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah. Well, and again, very similar. I very much agree with what you're saying here. This is how I see it. This is how I would want to see people address the UFO issue. And we're going to jump into some of the ethics of the cosmos stuff in a second, because I want to bring this back to the AEU, because it's a fascinating group. There are some interesting bona fides within the AEU membership ranks. Like you've got the president of the AEU, Alexander Semyonov, professor of the Academy of Geopolitical Problems, amongst other academic titles. There's Vladimir Baranov, who is the president of the Academy for National Security Studies. You also have Anatoly Sitnov, who, amongst other titles, is the former armaments chief of the Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation, Colonel General Leonid Ivashov, who is the president of the Academy of Geopolitical Problems and the former head of the main Department of International Military Cooperation of the Ministry of Defense. And even in your international membership, you have people like Roberto Pinotti, who is the president of the International Coalition for Extraterrestrial Research in San Marino, Italy. So these are just some of your members. And there are some very credible and serious people on this membership list. Can you explain why these individuals wanted to take part specifically in the AEU? Because of things like the ethics of the cosmos and the way in which you're looking at this, I'm just wondering why did these people want to be a part of this specific mission, and yourself as well?
Because that's the point in the history of the humankind when we have to cooperate. We have to unify and cooperate. And these people listed in our membership list, some of them you named, just realized this because they had their background, they had their positions, they were forming, they had different positions, they had different spheres of human knowledge. And throughout their life, throughout their career, military career, scientific, or what have you, they have encountered with things that would make them think of the ongoing situation of their lives. Why this happens? Why this happened to me? Why people act like this? Why I'm in this situation? And they start to research and they start to find answers. and they finding answers, they getting answers. Some of them are studied UFOs, and they had contacts with extraterrestrials. And by the way, extraterrestrials are very open to communication, and they can communicate through telepathy, and we can get into this if you want. And that's why. And back in the day, the Association Ecology of the Unknown, it was an informal organization, but when you have a resonance with someone, you come together.
Yeah,
like a band. Like you like this type of music. Oh, and I like. Maybe we should get make a band. Yes, of course. Why not? And you moving forward like this. You become friends and more. Just like all the things in life. You have a girlfriend, and then you see that, you realize that that could be my wife. She can be my wife, and she becomes your wife, and you have children. That's a evolution. That's just like the universe works. And this people, they just have this resonance in them,
right.
and they're going towards each other, and they realize that we have this knowledge. We have drawn our conclusions, and we think we know what to do, and we're taking responsibility for this. And that's why they are all together in this association, because this is association of researchers of the anomalous phenomena, contributing to the evolution of mankind, of nature, cosmos, and human abilities, whatever you may think of. So that's why they are members of this association, and that's why this conception of the living universe has all the main essential things that people shared, and we have just put them all together in a form that each person can read it and feel it and understand it. It's in a simple language. It's understandable. It's in everybody. It's in everybody. But when you don't hear it, maybe when you didn't had this experience in your life, you cannot tell, is this real, or it's just my thoughts? And when somebody tells you this, when you can feel it and say, oh, I had the same, that's what it was. And that's how we become friends with each other. That's how we do anything. So we have something in common.
Yeah.
And this is our human race. We are in common because we are in charge of this planet. And we have to care about it, care about each other. That's so deep inside of us. And that's so important. And even just one emotion, good emotion, that you broadcasting to someone, to your friend or somebody, sympathy or joy, or you name it, it immediately impacts this this person, the area where you are, because it's like resonance, like frequencies. But we just don't see it because we are used to see things like, we think that this world is so usual, it's so common, so so ordinary. But deep in your soul, you know that there's something more, and this is the knowledge that comes to you when you're prepared, because that's how the universe works. If you're not prepared, it's okay. It's okay. This is your level of evolution. That's okay.
Yeah.
When you want more, when you searching, you want to start to search, you're like, you're looking down at your feet, then you're raising your head and you're looking forward, you see more, and then you want to decide, I want to go there, and you go there, and you walk climb up the mountain. When you climb the mountain, you just see the mountain like this. But when you reach the top, you see from the mountain, the valleys, the rivers, the whole new world. That's how it works. That's why we are drawn together.
Well, I like the way that you put that, and again, I completely agree with you. And speaking of human kindness and the human species working together, on the AEU website, you have what is called the Ethics of the Cosmos, which describes itself as an international public organization for the promotion of peaceful existence in outer space, with the main goal being to assist humankind in a new commitment to become a moral, peaceful, ethical global civilization as we journey out beyond our planet. So, for everyone listening, by the way, you can read the full declaration of the ethics of the cosmos on the official website for the AEU, and I will put a link for this in the description box below, so you can have a look at that after you've heard me and Timofey talking about it. But can you explain how the ethics of the cosmos was created?
Yes, it was created recently when we realized that we need to go different ways. We cannot choose one way and just push there, because before that we wanted to reach our leaders, the presidents, our president, as we work internationally, leaders of different countries. But there are so many obstacles, maybe you can call it obstacles, because there are different people out there. And currently, those who are in power, usually they have a lower level of ethics and morality as an average person compared to an average person, because they have access to big money and big power. And it has its reason. Maybe we can get into it later. But when we saw that besides the decision to reach decision makers, we can address an average person, and it will be easier, because as I already said, humanity is one organism, and we are connected, we are interconnected, and decision makers, they always look at the crowd. So how it's just a historical game. Maybe it should be different, of course, but that was the reason that we wanted to establish this international social movement, where we would put our knowledge into a conception of the living universe, which would be written in simple words, and everyone can understand it and relate to it, and decide if he wants to go this way or not. It's like in the movie Matrix. You have a blue pill, you have a red pill.
Right.
And that's what the ethics of the cosmos gives you. It's okay if you take a blue pill. Maybe later you would choose a red pill, but maybe you would want to take a red pill right away, because you read it and you see that's the truth, that's the knowledge, that's the way out. And that's how we wake up and become one. And the fact that we are all interconnected through so many different ways, not only through consciousness, makes it easier to change the situation. I don't know how to explain it, but it's easier when you do it. So having this light inside of you, having this knowledge inside of you, you just emanating it, and that's all the science of resonances.
Yeah.
If there is a resonance, there's a higher, more powerful frequency, it will attract and tune all the other frequencies, which are a mess, like a chaos.
Yeah.
Like a fork, like a tune fork. Yeah, that's how you tune the guitar. You have a resonance, and you tune your strings and all other strings according to this tone. And that's the resonance that we are now broadcasting. And you can tune into it. And then you can play, and there will be a beautiful music. So that's a new paradigm. That's a new science, because what we wanted to share is there is no gap. There should be no gap, and there is no gap anymore between the religion and science. Because
Yeah.
a struggle, religion and science, who's right, who's wrong? There should be no gap.
Yeah.
Because science is not only for making cars, weapons, things like your microwave oven or something. It must explain all the other spiritual things and ethical things and all different things, everything. That's the science. And religion is not only of God, and you have maybe when you die, you go to heaven or you go to hell. It's more. It gives you the logic of life. If you do this, the consequences will be this. If you do that, the consequences will be that. The religion. And it's like science, and there is no gap.
Yes.
So that's the ethics of the cosmos. When we eliminate this gap.
See,
and this
I mean,
is the knowledge.
Yes, I very much agree. In fact, my channel, my platform is called Project Unity, and the reason for me calling it Project Unity is because I honestly do believe that there needs to be an interconnecting, a unifying between science and spirituality. That these two things, when they kind of come together, it will be a whole new paradigm. And I do believe that through the progression in quantum mechanics and our ability to dig deeper and deeper into the substance of reality, that we will actually get to this point of connectivity between science and spirituality. And so that's very much in resonance, as you were saying. That's something that resonates with me profoundly. Within the ethics of the cosmos material that can be found on the AEU website, there is a section that is titled Russian Cosmism, Conception of a Living Universe. I was just wondering if you could explain what exactly Russian cosmism is, because that's not a term that is very familiar to people in Western ufology.
Of course, I will explain. Russian cosmists are space scientists of the 19th, 20th centuries. Maybe you heard of someone like Tsiolkovsky.
Yes.
Yes, that's a Russian cosmist.
Right.
More than a century ago, he predicted that people would fly in capsules in outer space. And also, that's just a part of his work. And he predicted that someday people would become like light beings or plasma beings when they evolve. And scientists of similar to him, there were many. They all were called Russian cosmists. Florensky, Tsiolkovsky, Chizhevsky, Vernadsky. I'm just naming some of the most eminent. And the thing that they also studied and wrote their works about were the point that universe is alive, that the solar system is like a cell of the universe's body. It's like a cell, and there are different processes going inside this cell, and there is a very much similar like in our body. And if the solar system someday would want to become a cancer cell, like going out of control, there is an immune system in the universe that would compensate for that, to not go this cancer out of this particular cell. So they looked at the universe as like at a living body. So that was the part of their works, and we incorporated this knowledge, and that's why it's called New Russian Cosmism.
Right.
Because we use the steps to go higher. So New Russian Cosmism, and not only this, all the knowledge that we have, we just put together, and we decided that that would be a good name for this book, or this conception, New Russian Cosmism. And chapter 1 is conception of the living universe. There are more chapters to come. Right. They are not written yet, but this one is the main, so it's an opening chapter. Yeah. That's why this name was given, because there were Russian cosmists, so space scientists, that not only became the fathers of Soviet and Russian rocketry, just like Werner von Braun was the father of American rocketry. Tsiolkovsky is considered to be the father of Russian rocketry, because he made a rocket that he didn't make. He designed in his drawings, and he predicted that, that there can be such devices made to go into space. So, and that's just I'm telling you the most famous examples of his work. That's why there is the name New Russian Cosmism.
Right, and so in the AEU document that's titled Russian Cosmism, Conception of a Living Universe, the introductory statement that's on your website is extremely interesting, and I want to ask you some questions about this statement. So for those who have not read this document that is on your website, I will now read this introductory statement. So it says on your website, underneath the Russian Cosmism, Conception of a Living Universe, for more than 40 years of a comprehensive study of the UFO phenomenon and other so-called anomalous phenomena, during which a huge amount of data was obtained, including through direct communication of specially trained people with representatives of extraterrestrial civilizations, and subsequent analysis of the information obtained in the light of modern scientific knowledge, existing religious concepts, and views of Russian space scientists, as you were saying, Russian cosmists of the 19th and 20th centuries, we became firmly convinced that the whole universe is alive, and we, as a part of its large living organism, are supposed to and must live in harmony with the laws established by the universe for all of its inhabitants and itself. We have discovered and deduced these laws ourselves, and the information received by our specialists directly from the supreme intelligent powers of the cosmos confirms the absolute correctness and reliability of this discovery. So I think the big question here is the claim that through specially trained people, you've been able to establish communication with ET civilizations, or what you categorize as the supreme intelligent powers of the cosmos. And I want to ask you, in relation to the methods of communication, who are these specially trained people? In what way are they trained? And what type of contact occurred that allowed for the sharing of information between ET civilizations and these specially trained human beings?
A good question. Specially trained means that um, people who realize something and change themselves in the ethical perspective, because as I already told you, there are some technologies and some abilities of human body that you can discover in yourself only when you have a certain level of ethics and morality, so that you will never harm anyone. You can only harm yourself, and that would be an instant karma. You will have a reverse action on yourself. Especially trained means that people who have just working on themselves.
Yeah.
And later in this conception, there's a paragraph about ego, and this especially training has to do with this ego transformation.
Right.
And when you have this a little bit transformed, just tiny piece, there's a huge amount information and abilities that you discover within yourself, like reading other people's thoughts, but not at your will, when you're allowed to. It's very easy to employ when you start doing this, and you become like more connected with the outside world. And when you can feel, it's called empathy.
Right.
Empathy. It's a very outstanding, great phenomenon. You can feel others' emotions like yourself, and when you're allowed, you can read his mind or her mind, and that's how it works. And communication with the other races, extraterrestrial races, is going through telepathy.
Right.
And telepathy is a very I should not say easy, because it's easy when you do it, because you can it's a direct communication. It doesn't involve language or your where were you born, from what family, what is your position, what languages do you know, how much money do you have. It involves your evolutionary status, and this depends on your level of morality. The higher the level of your morality and ethics, the higher your evolutionary status. You have the higher level of consciousness. You have a higher frequency, and there are more you can influence in the world. And at a certain point, you can feel that you're not alone, and you may have it in your dreams. Some maybe the dreams when you're seeing at night, if you have dreams, some people or some creatures come to you, and you can communicate, you can ask questions, and they would answer. And later you become able to do this when you're awake, but you have to go in a certain state. I would not say that's a meditation. It's just something that you do with a special mindset, with a special, when you feel the time when you need to do it.
Right.
And you feel the opposite end, the other end. Are they willing to do this or not? What are they going to answer your questions, or you have to wait a little bit, because they also have things to do. They're not just here to satisfy you. And when you have this connection, you can ask questions through telepathy, and they would answer. And they're answering not only in language, but in images, in sensations, in vision. You can almost experience and view it in your imagination, because a human being is the physical body just have all the projections
Yeah.
of the body of the human, and the human has his divine part, his energetic part, and his physical part, and that's why that's how we connected to the whole world, and that's why they say that we are the children of God, and the God is the absolute supreme power that established these laws, and of course that's how you specially train yourself, and that's how you can communicate with those beings. Oh, and of course, if you ask them how this world works, they would answer you so that you would understand. They will not give you information that will confuse you. And that's what we have received, people who communicated with them. And of course, they wrote down things and they shared with others. And that's a very good corresponds to the knowledge that humanity already has, but maybe didn't know how it worked. Now it's understandable. Now it's more clear. And that's how the supreme powers, as we call them, of the universe guide us. They give hints, they give warnings. That's how they upbring us like little children. So maybe that's part of their job. Maybe they have some duties. I don't know, but that's just a live communication. It's not someone who is higher than you and he wants to dominate and he decides whether you leave or not. No, it's just living beings. Like you would like you would have your cat sitting on your knee and you would
stroke it.
Yes. You feel it, you communicate, and when it doesn't want you to stroke it, you just sit like this and no problem. Yeah. And that's how it works. It's a living connection, and we humans have to change in the way that we can communicate with each other in this manner. And that's what they want from us, the supreme powers of the cosmos. They want us to get along with each other. Then they maybe decide that, okay, humans, now you're ready for an official contact. And maybe they would land somewhere at the lawns of the White House and come out of the vehicle and wave their hands. But
well, you talk about the consciousness connection very calmly and very clearly, and this is something because of my own experiences, because I have gone out literally outside that window in my back garden and sent up thoughts, and I've had responses and I've had things come in, and I've never had communication like information, but I've seen things come by that very clearly are not human. And so this is what started me. But I constantly have to struggle with people that say, oh, telepathy, this is silly, this is nonsense, there's no such thing as telepathy, there's no such thing as this kind of consciousness connection. So what would you say to those people that still refuse to believe that this type of ability is real?
I would ask them, did you try it yourself? What would they say? No, I didn't try because I don't believe.
Exactly.
That's your problem. Try it.
Try it. That's what I say as well. Just give it a go. Just try it and see what happens.
It's like you look at the table and say, oh, that's disgusting food out there. I don't even want to try. Maybe when you try it, it's so delicious. You never know. You may think that you know, but
yeah,
maybe it's a bad example, because actually you can look at food and kind of have you can feel the scent. Maybe you can tell whether it's tasty or not, but it's something like this.
Yeah, I understand.
You should try it yourself and then decide.
So the paper, this is the Russian Cosmism and the Conception of a Living Universe paper on your website. It goes on to say that there are 5 fundamental laws of the universe, and I'd like to read these laws out for those who are listening to this and then ask you some questions about them. So, these are the 5 fundamental laws of the universe as presented via the AEU's Ethics of the Cosmos. So, the first is the law of development and perfection. And the law of development and perfection states that humanity is obliged to fulfill its cosmic purpose for which it was born. The cosmic purpose of humanity is to ensure and maintain a continuous process of development and perfection of itself, its world, and its star system. The law of harmony and beauty is the next one. And this requires that the process of development and perfection guided by humanity in its world must be harmonious, that it is that the human world, there must be harmony between masculine and feminine. In humanity, it is the harmony between a man and woman which will allow people all over the world to achieve full coherence, mutual understanding, and unified aspiration to advance to a creative level of being. Then you have the law of change. The law of change establishes that for humanity, only its cosmic purpose is permanent, and humanity is obliged to fulfill it under any circumstances. Everything else, the external and internal conditions of humanity's existence, the level of consciousness at which a human being is, the state of human society, all of these things are in a constant process of change. And the only permanent thing is the cosmic purpose of humanity. Then you have the law of justice or law of retribution. The essence of the law of justice is that anyone who, acting consciously or unconsciously, tries to harm the highest goal of humanity's existence, its mission, its people, animals, nature, instantly receives such a degree of force of the reverse action, which is directly proportional to his desire to destroy the surrounding world. So this is something that people sometimes call karma. At the same time, the law of justice is manifested in the fact that by constructively investing in the overall process of development and perfection of the world, taking care of others, caring about nature, setting a good example for your children and people in general, humans actually enhance their own well-being, improve their health, make their future brighter, and create for themselves a transition to a new level of consciousness and a new level of mastering the potential of their physical body. And so humans prolong their life and gain the ability to evolve through this law. The law of order is the last one, I believe. And the law of order establishes the hierarchy of powers in the universe and ensures the existence of the human world in accordance with the fundamental laws of the universe in all of their multidimensional manifestations. This means that humanity, being not the only conscious manifestation of life in the universe, must take into account the possible consequences of its activities and what impact the results of these activities may have on other inhabitants of the universe. That is, humanity, as well as other inhabitants of the universe, must follow the ethics of the cosmos. So these are profound ideas that are being presented here, and these are ideas that I like the sound of personally. I'd like to ask, were these fundamental laws provided to those specially trained individuals from extraterrestrial intelligences? Are these laws that you actually that people received through this interaction?
Yes, and not only, as I have already told, there were Russian cosmists
Right.
century ago that deduce these laws. Like, I don't know how they did it, but they described similar things. And of course, those specially trained people, as we call them, asked the creatures they communicated with whether it is right or not, and they would describe it like this. And besides that, you, each person, an average person or whoever you are, can see how these laws act in your life. And you can see the instant karma there, some funny pieces of video in the internet, but there are more to this than
Yeah.
only there's just funny pieces. It's just good examples and funny things. And of course, the sense of humor is is something that makes our life easier and uh, helps us to understand fundamental things. And of course, you can know these laws from your life when you love someone, when you love your woman or your man, how it enhances your life, really, how it inspires you, motivates you to do something or anything, how it how you complement each other, how you grow. You are one half and the other half. You connect, and then you become more than two halves. You become a whole new being, like they say, in the image and likeness of God, like man and woman, a human being that broadcasts love and all other emotions that can only occur when there is a man and woman. And that's something fundamental, and that's why there are men and women on earth. There are men, there are women, and of course there are many things that maybe misconceptions and other things out there in the world, but this is something that each person understands when you can feel its laws in your life. And the law or the law of change, you can very easily see it in your life when you're stuck in your improvement and development, and you just you have to raise your hand and you have to find out the different ways, because this will help you to go further, because you have your mission, you have your goal to achieve, and you're stuck, and you know that you have to find other means of reaching this goal, and you try this, and hopefully and eventually you reach your goal. And that's just the law of change. You change your conditions and you reach your goal. Otherwise, you will not do this. You have to change, and there's a constant change in you, but the goal is the same, the mission is the same. And similar, like the other laws that you have just read, thank you for sharing, for doing this. That's how they work. You can just look back at your life or look forward, or look around.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's something that comes from the essence of you, like a human, like a humanoid race, like a representative of a humanoid race, because humanity is a humanoid race. It has to be creative, constructive. And when we destroy, that's the dark part, that's our dark part. That's something inhuman in us, that's not inherent in humans. And people sometimes do not distinguish these things. Human is always constructive and creative. And when you destroy and you harm, that's something inhuman in you that lives inside you, and it has its program and its own goal. And its own goal is to consume the surrounding world. And it's like a parasite. So it will destroy everything it touches. We call it ego. And there's a conception. There's an explanation of this. And so that's the laws. That's how we see them and we observe them. And having this knowledge of Russian cosmists and people who received answers from the supreme intelligent powers of the cosmos, who would say, yes, that's correct, and more. And they would say more. They would show that all other races are in the same conditions. These universal laws are throughout the universe. And that's why when you go to other star systems and you have, when we go, we will not be killed or conquered there, because that's how it works. So maybe was it that's my answer to your question, how
Do
we
you
found out this flaws.
do you believe as a human species that we're capable of incorporating these types of these fundamental laws into our lives and becoming a more peaceful and productive planetary society? Do you see that potential with humanity, despite all the craziness and the conflict and the violence? Do you see a light at the end of the tunnel?
When you see the light in the end of the tunnel, maybe
It's too late.
it's too late. Yes.
You know what I mean by that, though.
Yeah, yeah,
Do you
yes.
see
You
something on
meant the shining star, the guiding star.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, there is a way, and it's a very clear path. And despite all the things that you just said, the suffering, the wars, and something like this, there are many good things.
Yes.
That which stem from your essence, and your essence is it's divine, and it's the light part, or as we call it. It's and you just have to concentrate on the good processes, because where your attention is, energy goes there. If you suffer, if you when I mean suffer, I say like you're having some satisfaction from suffering, like masochism. When you so when your attention is in some bad things, your energy goes there and you go down. You cannot evolve because there's a huge weight. There's a huge weight that drives you down. And when you concentrate on the good side, on good things, what you can do, okay, this situation is terrible, but what can we do? We see the light. So there is the light. We should go there. And we have to prepare. We have to train. There is no way where you can do no work. You have to work. You have to do some efforts. You have to go. You have to reach from A to B. You have to make step, one step, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you go. One little step is just so small. Why should I do this? I just want someone to save me, to take me and put me there. No, it doesn't work like this. You have to step by step by step by step in this current situation. And that's what we suggest to do. We have some methods and techniques which were successful, and is also described in this conception in a very brief way. You have to do these steps, and there is a way. And the further you go, the easier it becomes. The hardest step is the first one.
Yeah.
To do it, to just do it, go. And as you go, you see more people going, and you feel motivation. And then you feel that we are one, and we're going in the right way. And you go, and those who are there, who are shining at us this light, they're helping us. They encouraging us. You're doing right. You got this. You will do this. And that's how they motivate and encourage us. And if you turn to them, if you didn't ever try telepathy, try it. And maybe you will hear, you'll hear an answer. But don't expect the answer will come in a certain way. It's a voice in your head or something. You start writing. No, it will be the way that you can understand. So because the universe is so big, it's so worth of exploring, and the human body, we just in the very beginning of our way. And that's the way out. We have to just go step by step, encourage each other, help each other, and know that those supreme powers are always friendly and they are waiting for us to come out of this dungeon that we are in. We just went down the dungeon. There is no light. There's awful smell there. And we see in the darkness, we think that we see some hostile creatures going to eat us. No, this is just a dark dungeon. We just have to go out and they're waiting for us. But they will not take your legs and move your legs. You have to do it your own way, because then why is the purpose of humanity? If something does it, does it for you, you have to do, because you're the main. We are the main power in this solar system. So we have to go.
See, once again, I'm finding myself completely in agreement with you. I'm nodding my head and I'm enjoying what you're saying, and I agree with it. But there are people who claim to have had very traumatic experiences with these other intelligences, abductions and things where people have become very fearful. And I've never had that type of experience. All of my experiences have come from a positive, perspective. But I do understand that there are people who believe very much so that they've had traumatic, scary experiences. What? Hello? I think you
Yes.
cut out there. Yes,
Yes.
I think you cut out for a moment.
Would you please repeat? Because there was
Yeah,
about
of
30
course.
seconds of phrasing.
Yeah, no problem. So, obviously, like I said, I very much resonate with what you're saying, and my experiences have been positive experiences. But there are lots of people who, claim to have had traumatic experiences, abductions, scary things happening to them, and I'm just wondering where you feel that fits within this, because, like you, I truly believe in this positive energy and intelligence, but it does seem as if there is some aspect of a negative or a force, that an intelligence that doesn't treat us in this way. So, well, yeah, what's your thoughts on negative experiences, traumatic abductions, things like that?
Okay, first of all, there can be different situations and different interpretations of a situation.
Right.
Uh, let's just try to describe some of them. The first one is you have to know some safety rules and some just rules that will not get you in the situation where you can be hurt. For example, you want to learn to do a backflip. So to learn a backflip, supposedly you want first of all, you would want to learn a back roll. You want to learn how to jump. And then you would ask someone to hold your back when you try to do a backflip. And you, of course, you should know what exactly you need to do, And if you have all these conditions checked, and you try it and you do it, everything correctly, and you commit, then after you have done this and you succeeded, it's like an open gate. From now, you know how to do this, and it's easy. And before that, before this successful attempt, it was scary, it was not clear, it was in the mist of something because you had no experience. And that's just maybe something similar, because
Right, right,
because when you don't know, when you have some uh, Hollywood movies going on, when there are evil aliens invading the earth and taking over, when there are some aliens that would stick to your face and put something inside of you, and then your stomach blows up. You have all this in your mind, and that was made on purpose.
yeah,
uh, then you would uh, not even starting to do something, you already have this fear inside,
right, right,
and you have an inclination to interpret things that would happen in this from this bad angle, because you would think, oh, I saw this in the movie, oh, that's just happening to me right now, what is going on? So, and you uh, like keep this resonance going inside of you. Like I told before, where your attention goes, energy flows there. And so, and you have this bad experience, and from that, you, like you're doing a backflip and you're falling on your head. Those are unsuccessful because maybe you missed something, you had one of the boxes unchecked. So you have to have certain knowledge to do this. So this one situation. So maybe some wrong interpretation, or uh, not prepared properly for this, and something in your head that makes you have an inclination to interpret a situation in some way.
right.
It's like a so you understand.
Yeah,
That,
like they're putting an overlay onto the experience. They're putting something over it that might not be, but through their brain, the brain's kind of generating a false experience, perhaps.
yes, and mm, as I have shared today my experience, at that moment
Yes.
I was terrified, because there was something happening to me, which I never happened before. But uh, deep in my heart, I was feeling okay about this. I know that I was terrified because of the something strange happening to me. That fear that was not imposed on me by those creatures or by this light. This was my reaction. uh, like when you jump with a parachute, you cannot just go like this, because it's something new that you do.
Yeah.
So there's just the reaction of your body. You cannot distance from it. It's something new that you do. But if you train yourself, if you get ready for this, you know what's going to happen. There will be a different reaction. There will be understanding. So that's part one. Part two is some people who benefit from contributing to this image of evil aliens, maybe some charlatans, maybe some people who are paid to produce these frightful stories, because we like horrors, we like thrillers, and when we hear such story, it takes our breath away, and we feel like we have watched a thriller or a movie, something like this. And such people just make their money, and they write books and they produce movies, and there's a whole industry. So you have to distinguish where is true, where what is false. So this something that's made on purpose. And the third thing is the lack of understanding of ourselves, because it's today people think that all the bad things, all the good things inside of them are just one thing, it's them. But there's something in ourselves which is like a virus, which makes us sick mentally and physically. And that's it's not another bad alien or something, because the viruses are not aliens. They are not intending to harm you. They're just, that's the way they live.
Yeah, yeah.
They take over some body or animal or human, and they live inside, they reproduce, something like this. And this thing inside us, we call it ego. It has its own qualities. It lives, it takes our energy when we fight. If there is a confrontation, if there is a struggle, that's what generates power for them. And that's why the whole society, human society, is established in the manner of an hierarchy. You have to be the worst person to go to the very highest position, and then you get access to the biggest money, to the biggest power. And when you're here in the lowest part, you have to be like a slave, but you have no responsibilities, because who made your life worse? Them, who are at the highest positions. You blame everything on them, and that's how you give away your energy. Because if you have responsibility for something, only then you can change it. If you're giving your responsibility away, you cannot change anything. So we have to take the responsibility for our lives, for what we do, for what's happening in the world, on us. Then we can change it. And if we struggle, if we say blame it on Russians or blame it on Americans, then it's the struggle going on, and that's what this ego does inside us. It's like a virus. We just have to heal. We just have to heal ourselves, and then we will recover the planet, and heal the world. And that was my answer for this things that you said. When people they have had some experience, but they put all the eggs in one basket.
Right. Yeah.
So, and you have to learn yourself. Then you can distinguish. That's my fear, because of the fear that lives inside me, and I project it on everything. And that's my sense of that's the fear that warns me. Don't go there. Don't jump from this high building. That saves you. That's your guardian. That's fear. It guards you. That's why we feel pain when your leg is broken or something. Now you know something wrong happened to you. You cannot, from this moment, put your leg down on the floor because you feel pain and you know something wrong happened. That's the mechanism in our body that helps us. It's not something bad. Pain, I just need some drugs to take it away. Of course, there are situations when you need drugs to ease the pain, to just to stay sane, just to go and recover. But sometimes you just need to feel this fear or pain that guides you, and that's when the essence of the fear transforms. You transform your ego, and now you have your fear like a guardian, not something that eats your life energy, and you become weaker and weaker, and you become more frightened, and you don't want to go anywhere, you don't want to start anything. I'm that does not belong here. I don't want to take responsibility. I don't want to learn this because I've had bad experience. Maybe it was just first attempt, you have to go for the second one or the third one. So you have distinguished. It depends on the situation. So that's comes from learning ourselves who we are.
There's a fantastic answer, Timofey. Thank you very much for that. This 2 hour interview has gone by very quickly because we're now
Oh,
past. Well, I know we're now past the 2 hour mark. So I'll tell you what. I'll just ask you one more question, and we'll wrap up here. But I think we should definitely have another talk at some point because I've really enjoyed this, and I really enjoy your perspective, your ideas on this. So yeah, I'd very much appreciate another discussion at some point. So I'll ask you one thing, just because this is something that people, especially within the Western ufology, have said, and this is that there are many people who believe that the Russian government is further ahead than the West in relation to the study of the UFO issue. So, for an example, former Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid in the Senate is one such person who has, voiced his concerns that Russia is further ahead in this research, and also that you are further ahead in the study of consciousness and psychic abilities. Would you agree with the idea that Russia is probably further ahead in these research areas?
no, I wouldn't agree, because what makes you Russian?
Hmm.
Because you were
Where
born
you
in
live, I
Russia?
suppose. Yeah, you
Because you
yeah,
have your ID when it's written as Russian?
right.
And they say that Russians drink vodka and they have bears and they play balalaika. I don't drink vodka. I don't drink alcohol at all. And I do not play balalaika. I can play the guitar. And the best guitars are American guitars. It's Fender, it's Gibson. And the whole world knows it. And what makes me Russian? I can talk English.
Yeah.
I can talk Russian. What makes me Russian is my spirit, of Russian. And what makes you Britain? Are you from the Great Britain,
Yeah,
right?
I'm from Britain. Yeah.
It's your spirit that you're Britain, and we complement each other, and that's why it's a, if you ever seen a rainbow, what color is the best of the rainbow?
They're all they
I
are
like,
all equally beautiful. Yeah.
yes, I like red. They like violet. He likes green. She likes blue.
Yeah.
But it's rainbow.
Yeah.
It's just something that comes out from white light. And this is white light just separated into colors. So we are white light, but you're green, I'm red, he's yellow. Just think of this.
Yes.
Who is
Yes.
ahead? If there was no red, would it be a rainbow? No. Have you ever seen a rainbow with no green? No. It's always all these colors in certain
Yes.
positions, from red to violet. Which position is best? Violet or red? Would
There
you
is none.
change it?
Yeah.
Would it be rainbow? No, it's always
Yeah.
like this. And that's how these fundamental laws establish that you are in your position and you have your mission. And you all are the white light. But you are green, he's red, and all you are the same. And that's why, from this perspective, does it matter who is ahead? We have to survive. Not only survive, we have to accomplish our mission, and it's a great mission. So this is my answer.
Yeah. No, that's really lovely, and I really respect and appreciate that kind of response. That we're all in this together. We're all a human family. There is no, special person amongst us. Each and every one of us has our own, individual mission, and then as a collective species, we have our species mission, and
Absolutely.
these things need to work together. Yeah, this has been a really really enlightening and interesting conversation with you, Timofey. The 2 hours have gone so quickly for me. I've just
Yes.
been enjoying listening to this. So thank you so much for deciding to sit down and do this with me. Is there anything you want to say to people listening before we finish off here?
Yes, I would like to say thank you for having me here, and thank you all who's listening to us. And of course, this is not the end. This is just the beginning. And if I saw there were many questions in Twitter, and we can plan a different interview, like question and answer, like this. And of course, we can have another chapter going
Yes.
like today. And 2 hours passed so fast. Before you told me, I didn't even realize that two
Yeah.
hours passed.
I
And
know.
so thank you. And you can check our website, as Jay said, check the Association Ecology of the Unknown site. There is information about the ethics of the cosmos, social movement, and feel free to ask questions. There is a form that you can fill and ask questions, and there is a YouTube channel. It's in Russian, but there are some videos in English and with English subtitles. And let's keep going together because we complement each other. Maybe we will have another interview conversation. And thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. It was a real pleasure for me to talk with you and communicate with all you.